So from here, you are bringing the arm and shoulder around, but you're also sitting up tall. Okay? You can also grab onto your clothes as you do it. Okay, very important. And anterior and anterior to bring our hips up. Okay, so it's kind of like a turtle shell here, and then straightening the back. But you can see how my knees are not going in and out. It's all in the hip area because we really want to open up and get strength in the hips. So from here, you're rounding your spine, bringing your hips down, and then pushing your chest forward between your arms, pushing your elbows into your knees and up. So it's real work of the hips. You're also squeezing your glutes and working towards the outside of your feet as you do this. Breathe deeply. So you may not get to the ground, but if you're doing the anterior and posterior tilt, you're going to have the working through of the hips, which is what you need for that mobility and movement through the hip area, which is so important to us when we're working in hips and all of those things aligned, okay? So from there, we're going to come into our butterfly stretch. Remember, take it to your level. I'm going to work at bringing my legs really, really close to my groin and rolling out my feet. And so the bottom of my feet goes towards the sky, a little bit of an opening through the ankles as well. Lift my pelvis forward before sitting it down and staying tall. Keep opening the feet. And once you feel open and you're pushing those feet down onto the tops, pushing the knees down, coming up tall, shoulders down, chest up, I want you to think about coming forward. And as you come forward, you want to think of your belly going to your feet. So not rounding down, but your belly moving slowly towards your feet. Now, if you don't have this mobility yet, that's okay, because it took me 5-6 years to get down here. And so it takes time. You can have your hands out, you can have your arms forward, and you keep rotating those feet, pushing the belly down, lengthening the spine and relaxing here. Nice deep breath, squeezing the glutes to keep the feet out and to push your spine long. Very active. All movement should be active. That's why when you see flexible people, you know they're very strong, because it creates muscles create these movements. It is not created by pure flexibility alone, or you'll get injured. So let's go to a Skandasana side lunge, or you can call it whatever you like. Also, make sure we're going to do a little bit of side body opening. If you were going towards head behind head, that's going to be super, super important. Inhale here, exhale, grab the ankle. Inhale here, lengthen, exhale, shoulder inside the knee, and rotate and lengthen the spine here, looking up towards the ceiling. You can lengthen your arm long and rotate, looking up underneath the arm. From there, do a little bit of a kung fu movement where you're rolling the foot in and out and sitting down to get, again, mobility in that hip area. So really working on that mobility in the hip area. And then sliding across to the other side here, okay? Always keeping active, the same movements here that you did on the other side. Take your time. There is no rush here. I like to lengthen my arms to get full side body and lat stretch. So it's totally up to you. Again, pushing your elbow into the knee, rotating through the mobility here of your hip, really working into it, coming up. Strengthen this hip as you're lifting up and down. If you need your hands, utilize your hands to help you a little bit. So from here, we're going to work into a pigeon. Ideally, we want to have that right angle. Even if you are up here with a right angle, it's far better than to have here, because the stretch is going to come in here. We want the stretch into the glute area and hip. So to have here and lift up and push back is far more effective. Keeping the foot flexed at the front, pushing this hip down to get that mobility. Leaning forward for a moment And then if you have it from there, what you can do is you can rotate across here. So you're rotating shoulder, elbow, armpit, and then rotating along, pushing this hip down and lengthening your spine here. So this will give you a lot of feel. Coming up, and maybe if it's feeling good, working into rotational movements, okay? That's up to you. These rotational movements can get into the hip area, or you could do some rotational movements in this method, okay? From here, lengthen your foot out into the splits, okay? So whenever you're doing leg behind the head, you can rock back and forward a little bit if you're not ready, and take your time, or come into half splits, maybe move around and feel it before going into splits. So splits is going to help with leg behind the head or any hips. So coming into splits, really pushing that hip down, and then rotating across into the middle splits, rotating through to the other side. So just a little rotation work, rotating back, okay, all the way across and down. And then maybe a clockwise rotation here. So you're rotating here, bring your leg forward, okay?